These girls, God.
See, you don't have to look like that, but
And that's,
you know,
see, this is
the
working
feeling, the
out.
fitness.
her own,
People use it
whatever.
as an excuse. They say,
Right.
oh, I don't want to
That's
work
a
out
good
because
point,
I don't want to
Alexa.
look like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And you're not going to.
Again, like I said, people use or come up with, they're very creative coming up with excuses to not exercise. Meanwhile, these guys are professionals and are getting paid for it to be athletes. You don't need to worry about the looks.
Yeah, that's nice. It's
Yes.
not masculine.
One thing about this magazines here, what do you have here? This is the new Muslim Fitness. You have a lot of fitness magazines out in the stands right now. You have Men's Fitness, Oxygen, Muscle Mag, got Muscle Media, Shape, Women's Exercise, whatever. You can learn a lot of exercises in those magazines, and a lot of them tend to be the same exercises, and they teach you the right way to do it. So it's good to have these magazines, but they tend to be a little repetitive now and then. But it's still inspiring for me to like look at a magazine here, find a
It
body
is
that
inspiring.
appeals to me.
Tear
or
it off,
body
hang it
part.
on the fridge.
Yeah, you know, little things like that. Little things like that. So it's just good to have that, and you know, you don't have to believe everything you read in a magazine, but basically, you can take what works for you. And the only way sometimes to find out what works for you is to try it. But again, it goes back to the common sense rule. And it's just a matter of seeing what works for you, but you're not going to go and, you know, like I said, you're not going to go and do the exact workout that, say, a 260-pound bodybuilder will do 7 days a week because, first of all, they're on steroids, and they have the time and nutritional intake to recover from that kind of workout, and you won't, you know, and if anything, you'll overtrain and kill yourself. But anyways, you know, stay drug-free and, you know, stay inspired, but don't follow anything that you read step by step. You have attainable goals. Okay, so while we're here now, that we're doing cardio, and we're, you know, doing cardio, whether it's a keep your body fat at a minimum or decrease it, is the bottom line in terms of doing cardio. And there's this rule about getting your heart rate percentage at least 65% and over in terms of doing cardio. And you do that through taking your heart rate, okay? It needs to be at a certain percentage a minute or a certain beats per minute, that's fine. Most people don't really tend to do that, but there's a lot of machines now that has a heart rate in it, a heart rate reading. That's great. Unfortunately, we don't have that here today, but you can take your heart rate by taking the two fingers and putting in your pulse right here. And if you press hard enough, you will find little beats, and you want to take, say, within 10 seconds of that, with the clock up there. Good job, John. Yeah. With the clock up there, you know, within 10 seconds, I'm going to count how many beats I get and multiply that by 6. That'll give me how much heart rate I'm getting, and therefore, it should tell me if I'm burning enough fat. That's a good rule to follow. The rule I follow, if I feel like on the day that I can go harder than I did yesterday, I do. If today I'm just a little beat up and not too inspired, I won't. Okay, but there's days where it's too often that I don't get too inspired. That's when I push myself, because you can get really into a rut and just start going in a downhill mode, and that happens to most people.
I know a lot of people say that it's better to take the pulse in the wrist rather than
That's
on the
fine.
neck.
Yeah, wrist or neck, you know, whatever works for you. But the bottom line is, if you have been taking the pulse on your neck, stick with it. If you've taken on your wrist, stick with it. Don't be changing back and forth.
And don't use your thumb.
And don't use your thumb. Yes, you don't get a double reading. Okay. So again, on the Stairmaster, treadmill, bike, whatever you do, you want to make sure you're doing at least 20 to 30 minutes minimum to get your fat or metabolism process maintained or increased. Now, the trick is, from what I preach with my personal training with most of my clients, is that the trick is, I prefer to push people really hard on the weights, and then when it comes to the Stairmaster, they can take it easy, but they want to be able to jump on the cardio machine right after the weight training. Why is that? That is, right after your weight training, your heart rate is already up. So when you get on your cardiovascular machine right away, on your first minute, you're already burning as much fat on the cardiovascular machine as possibly in the 10th minute without doing any weights. So that's the advantage of that. Just because you did weights already, your heart rate went up, you're going to be burning more fat at the very first minute of that cardiovascular workout.
But it's still
Okay?
important to do some cardio warm-up before you do the weights.
Oh,
and then come back.
absolutely, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. That's the key thing. Now, you can talk as much as you want when you're doing a cardiovascular workout, 'cause it can get pretty darn boring. But what I like to do is now and then I like to visualize how I want to look, and you know, and push myself a little harder, you know, to that look that I'm trying to acquire when I'm doing my cardiovascular workout. Okay.
I think motivational thoughts, like,
Motivational thoughts. Right.
I don't know, just
Yeah. No, I'm not. I agree with you. I'm not.
little
I'm
like
not,
Zen things, you know, that I just
if
repeat in
that's
my
what
head.
if that's what works for you, fine. I tend to visualize about the body I saw in a magazine, or even you know an actor that that appeals to me, how he, you know, in terms of looking, how he brings that out in the movies, and that appeals to me, and that's what I imagine when I'm doing my cardio. Okay, or just read a magazine. But make sure you maintain a certain speed or revolutions or step when you're doing your cardio.